Would you ever speak to somebody that you admire, respect, or look up to the way that you talk to yourself? No, of course not. So why do we speak so negatively to ourselves, and what can we do about it? That's exactly what we're going to be covering in today's episode. Welcome to This is Coaching. And my name is Nicolette Moore. I'm joined by two other coaches, Monica Riva and Marquis Navarro. We are three coaches on a mission. We want to help bring awareness to this amazing industry, and we're here to help you learn tools and strategies that we use with ourselves as well as our clients so that you can live a more empowered life. So let's get into this. Marquis, I want you to open up, and I'd love for you to just kind of explore the conversation about negative self-talk and like, why do you think that this is such an issue?
Well, first off, good morning. Glad to be here. And I think people don't realize that they're doing it. I've talked to several people, myself included. I've talked to several people, and I'm sitting there listening to how they phrase certain things and how they perceive certain situations in their life. And then it's typically every word out of the mouth is a negative word. Every situation is negative. There's like no upside, but they're not really paying attention to the words they're using. And who was it I talked to who pointed out to me I was working with? Sanjay. I didn't realize that everything I said that for my business, I wasn't putting out there positive vibes. I was like, man, this isn't going well, or I'm not doing, well, or this sucks, just flat out say it. And he's like, have you ever thought of saying it in a different way? And I'm like, what do you mean? Ask yourself a question like, what could I do differently? Don't tell yourself how it's going. Ask yourself what you could be doing different. That's it. Because as soon as you start putting that negative word and the negative energy out there, and I know it sounds crazy, especially coming from me, I'm not into the chakras and everything, but it's a true thing. Negative energy and positive energy are legit. So I think it's a matter of realization. If you point it out to the person that, hey, do you realize that you're saying this very negatively? They're probably like, huh? What do you mean? And as soon as you start throwing the words out there back to them, they're like, oh crap, like I didn't realize I was doing that. And then they start realizing, and once you start being a little more cognizant of how you phrase words and sentences, it actually helps. Does that make any sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And that makes me think of, it's funny, you say you don't believe in chakras, but what's interesting about that is in the Bible, right? And I'm sure other spiritual texts have the same kind of language, but the Bible, I grew up reading the Bible, and it says, the power of life and death come out of your mouth. And I find that very interesting, just thinking about the words that we choose to use internally as well as externally. But even more so, neuroscience has talked about, you can look a lot of the literature about the connections that we make in our mind. And, just scientifically speaking, if you don't want the woo-woo of spirituality, scientifically speaking, the language patterns and the words that you're using make very strong connections in your mind, especially the more that you use them. And so the more that you're using a certain language pattern within yourself, the more you're like reaffirming to yourself these ideas and these thoughts. What about you, Monica? What are your thoughts on negative self-talk, and why do you think it is that we do this?
Yeah, I don't see myself doing it either, but I realize that there is a lot of negative self-talk going on. It's just that we're so completely unconscious of what we're actually thinking. And I see that even when I work with people, and I also have a part-time job at the post office. So I see normal people just coming in, going out, and I see how they already come with an idea of, I'm not worthy, or I'm not good enough. And and it reflects on everything, and you can sort of see it, and I sort of truly want to help them, each and every one, when I see them like that. But yeah, this is something so common to so many people, and it needs to be addressed.
It does. It really does need to be addressed. So I wanted to share a story that happened this week where I was in a group coaching session, and I was helping these entrepreneurs with their business. And in my world, I work with a lot of newer entrepreneurs, people that are coming onto the scene. They're trying to figure out, how do they start their business? How does this work? Business validation, is this even something that I can pursue? And there is one of the girls that I was coaching. She started to share about, like, she doesn't have a business yet, but she has an idea, and she has this passion that, as she was talking about her idea, she had so much energy and life behind it, and you could tell it really meant a lot to her. She was talking about, she doesn't like waste, right? And so she wants to she does sewing, and she wants to take scraps of clothing to sew together and make beautiful skirts out of it, right? And so, like, really specific, really impassioned about the way that she's talking about this. And she went on a rant for about 10 minutes just talking about this idea. But then at the end of it, she said, but I don't even know if that's stupid or not. And like the energy level went from up here to like, ooh, it was like a balloon just deflating.
Yeah.
And I called her out for it, because I was like, no, 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 no. We can't do that, right? And you can't find success in something if you're going to continually doubt yourself about your capability, or whether, something's a good idea or not. There's always discovery, of course, but as far as like the way that we speak to ourselves, that's going to be the number one contributor to whether you're able to actually pursue something or not. You can dream all you want, but if you're telling yourself you can't do it, you're not going to do it. And it really struck me, and I had quite a bit of dialogue with her afterwards, just in the discussion of, you cannot speak to yourself the way that you are and expect a good result. You who would even want to do business with you with that energy? You're insecure, you're not sure about yourself, and it's going to radiate out, just like Marquis said. That energy is put out, and it's all around you. It's like this cloud around you. And it's very important to identify and to stop.
No, definitely. I think something that came up while you were speaking is the word fear. And I did a talk a while ago back in Alaska about fear and what it does to us. And I think that is one of the symptoms, if you will, negative talk. So fear gets in that head of yours, and then the negativity starts just flowing through your body, like the dark side of the force or whatever, and it just takes over everything. So all that energy, it just saps it, right? You have all this excitement. I can do X, Y, and Z. I've got, A, B, C in order, and then the but comes in. There's always a but, right? And typically the thing that comes after the but is shit. So you gotta, and we don't realize that at the time, that we're just kind of scared of failing or being rejected. God, it just kind of just flows, right? Three podcasts in a row, they just go in order. But yeah, fear puts negative energy in our mind, and it just kind of just makes it worse. And if we can reword things, or not really focus on the negative, focus on the what if, but well, what if it works, right? Instead of what if it doesn't work, but what if it works? What do I have to lose? Honestly, you just start over. For some, it's harder, for others, right? But nothing in life that's worth doing is easy or having if you work hard for it. And fear can make that hard work seem impossible, though. So I think that's another thing we have to keep in mind.
Yeah, and also all those negative beliefs that we carry around, even around money, for example. and how we are not allowed to have certain things because we don't feel worthy, and how having too much is also something to be fearful of sometimes. And so we sort of contract, and we are less than we actually would dare to be. Also because of that negative self-talk, who do you think you are type of thing.
Yep.
Yeah. So what are some ways that we can help empower the listeners to stop this nonsense, right? This is not serving you. This is not serving the people that you interact with. It's not serving your relationships. It's not serving your business, your career, your family. It does nothing good for you. So what are some ways that we can help help the listeners to rethink the way they think?
Well, I know for me, and again, I'm not the touchy-feely coach, but you got to kind of have to give yourself a pep talk on a regular basis. Positive affirmations are a thing. And, you know, I know there's a joke and a running joke in the civilian world, if you will, of crazy people staring at a window saying, I am somebody, I am good, you know, but that's the thing. It actually works. You don't have to go to the level of, you know, what they do in the movies, but waking up in the morning and writing down or just saying it out loud that you are able to do something that you're shooting for, whatever it is. You know, I can't cook this meal without burning it. I don't know what your goal is, but it's about being positive first thing in the morning, and then positive before you go to bed. And don't dwell on the negative. If you want to write down mistakes made, right? Or I like to call it lessons learned. You know, what not to do tomorrow, do that, but don't dwell on it. You know, how can I be better tomorrow? Be better than I was yesterday, right? And yeah, just stick to that. And watch what you say.
Yeah.
You have to be cognizant of it. And ask your friends, hey, if I start being negative, please call me on it, you know, put it out there, let me know I'm doing it. And if you don't have friends that are going to do it, find new friends.
Yeah, it's a lot about the friends the people that you surround yourself with as well. And being mindful of what you're saying is important to me. And also even journaling sometimes. Journal about your thought, write down what you actually think or what you believe, and then read through it. And as Nicolette was saying in the last episode, is this really true? Can I really be 100% positive that this is true? And use that as a way to actually get more clear about your thought, and then choose better thoughts.
I love that. One of the things that I always say is that self-awareness is always the first step, right? So just being aware, like Marquis commented at the beginning, a lot of people aren't even aware that they're so negative. So just becoming aware of the words that you're saying and the thoughts that you're thinking is so important. And it can really, really start to transform the way you interact with the world. So awareness, step number one, is just thinking about how you think. Another great exercise that I really embrace is the idea of when you see or feel yourself in that mode of I'm doubting myself, I feel bad about myself, I hate myself, whatever those thoughts are. If you become aware of it, and then you're like, oh, but I still feel it, right? Like, okay, I'm aware of it. What now? If you're able to take a third party perspective, if you can literally imagine stepping outside of yourself and observing you, and then asking those same kind of questions, like, am I really that awful? Am I really incapable? Am I really, like, do I really hate this person? Or can I have compassion on myself? Like, how would you look at a friend? If you had a friend in this situation, can you look at yourself like you would look at your best friend? And what would you say to them in that moment? Right? Instead of just continuing to kind of live in that funk. And that's a very powerful tool. If you can really start to train yourself to step out of yourself and just look and observe and have compassion on yourself, that could be very transformative as well. But really and truly, I started this off with the idea of, would you say this to somebody that you respect or admire? And you wouldn't, right? You would not be speaking nasty to somebody you respect and admire. And in order for you to have the kind of fulfilling life that you're seeking after, you've got to respect and admire yourself.
Right. Yeah. It all starts there, right?
Yeah, I can't disagree with that at all. But I think your comment on self-awareness, that is the first step to so many things in life. Not just negative self-talk, but everything. And again, we could probably split that up into 100 episodes, honestly.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah. So, no, that's a very good point.
Excellent. All right. So just a quick recap. Negative self-talk does not serve you. It doesn't serve your life. It doesn't serve your relationships. It doesn't serve your career aspirations. It does not serve you. But in order for you to do anything about it, you've got to become aware that it's happening. And so in that awareness, take the steps that you can take to be able to overcome that and conquer it, right? Journaling, what Monica said, journaling is really powerful, and a great way to use journaling for negative self-talk is actually to write down, like just vomit, just word vomit, all the nastiness that's in your mind. And a powerful way to kind of release that energy is to burn a piece of paper that you've written your nastiness down on. That's very symbolic. That's very symbolic of just like, I'm going to release this. So that's very powerful. And just being able to look from the outside in and just having compassion on yourself and realizing you're human. We all experience it, but you need to respect and admire yourself enough to speak better to yourself, to be better to yourself. Any last comments from either of you guys on this topic?
No, I guess the only thing I would add is for the men out there, some guys feel weird about, journaling. They think of it as having a diary. And I would say that some of the best and brightest in the world, successful men in the world, do exactly what you guys mentioned. They write down, excuse me, they write down their thoughts, negative, positive, good, bad, and indifferent, and then the burning of the letter. That's definitely something I've seen in some of the successful folks' repertoires. So for you guys out there listening, it is not about being, uber manly when it comes to getting negative self-talk out of your head. It's about what's logical and what works. And, you can look back centuries, kings, emperors, and so forth, all the way back to here to CEOs and billionaires. They're going to say the same thing. Journaling is a very handy tool, and it gets your thoughts out on paper. And it doesn't have to be this pretty thing. It could be whatever you want it to be. A beat up old notebook, that you had from high school. Looks like, a detention desk in the front, and just go for it. It's not, just make it your own. So yeah, that's all I would add.
I love that. That's great.
Yeah, statistics show that we have about 50,000 thoughts a day or even more. And when they say that 80% of these thoughts are negative, I'm sure that there's a lot we can do just to better our wording just a little bit. It doesn't have to go from one extreme to another. Just, can I choose one word that is a bit more positive this time, and then next time another one a bit more positive, and then you're on the roll.
Little steps. Love it. All right. Well, if you guys have any questions, any situation you'd love us to discuss, feel free to email us at thisiscoachingshow@gmail.com. We're here to serve you. We're here to help you really have the tools that you need to live a better life and to just make this ride a good one. See you later. See you on the next one.